Hello, welcome to RNG at the Crossroad. I am a co-host, G.A. Cross.
And I'm Roosevelt, your other co-host. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. We have a special guest with us tonight. It is my uncle, and I'm so glad that he stopped by to see us. And Mark, like I said, we're just very, very excited to have you on here with us.
Absolutely.
This is my uncle. I think you all heard me mention him in a previous episode. I'm not going to be long-winded tonight, but he's very, very, very close to me. He took on two roles growing up with me. He took on the role of being my uncle and also my big brother. So he had two roles to play, and he did them well. Still to this very day, he's I look up to him. He's very knowledgeable. His life experience, as far as him, going through the military, learning through things through there, and going through school, and the many things that he's learned over the years that he has shared with me that has been inspiration to me in my life. So I'm very excited to have him here with us, and we're going to really have a good time discussing this topic. So Roosevelt, bring us in on that topic tonight, man.
Before I even get to the topic, I also want to just, piggyback off of what you're saying about Mark. I had the opportunity to meet Mark when we were in our development process. And even through that process, he brought some enlightenment into our own self-training.
Yeah.
So, and it was good. And we're supposed to broadcast a couple of days ago, but someone came up with me and he's telling me Mark was going to be on. It was supposed to be a surprise for me. So even though I didn't get the surprise like it would have taken place last Thursday, it was Thursday we're going to broadcast, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, last Thursday. It's still kind of a quasi surprise to me. Got much respect for this man, and a little bit of time I got to know him. So now let's just jump into the topic. We got a topic tonight, and our topic tonight is about giving of yourself and being a servant to others in order to get the things out of life that you want. Now I say that because we have politicians that we depend on. We have religious leaders and different denominations or religiology that we depend on, and just my experience. Every one of them, you could be a Christian, you could be a Buddhist, you could be a Muslim, you could be a Mormon, you could be a Seventh-day Adventist, you could be any one of the other religions out there. One thing those religions have in common, and I ain't saying they all good for eternity's sake, but one thing they all have in common is guiding you towards eternity. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those, and I'm just going to take the ones up. Some of those others divide, I want you to be somewhere else in eternity. But one thing for certain, they all have that common denominator. Now, when you talk about Christianity, talk about even Israelites, Mormons, Muslims, Islam, Jehovah's Witness, the commonality is, see, these things that are in the books that they read, they were always in the universe before they got into the books. So they all take their feed from the universe. Give, and it will be given unto you. Mm-hmm. When you talk about, depending on what your motivation is in life, and of course, our goal is to bring a community of people together. Bring your gifts, talents, your time, your servitude, your giving, and put those back out into your community. And we just believe that will that'll make some differences in how we go about this thing called life. Mm-hmm. So I certainly believe that, once we start doing these things and communicating these things back and forth to one another, there's actually going to be a change. I don't care if it's just a small change. A change nonetheless. So I certainly do believe, and you could talk to any successful person that, people follow people, especially people who are trying to accomplish things. They follow people. They follow the people that they want to emulate. They want to be like. They
the
will
people,
tell you.
absolutely, and the people that have received the outcomes that they're looking for. Yeah.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
It's important. You can't get anywhere in life if it's just you. Trust me, I tried that.
It's not easy, man. It is not easy. But yeah, I agree with that. I think that a lot of things that we do along the way, that's interesting, use the analogy of religion, but it's really a situation where it's that universal consciousness. It is God being all powerful, but also understanding the concept that there are many books that were delivered to the people, and the ritual may be different, the day they worship may be different, but they're praying to that same source of power.
Mhm.
And like you were saying, and a lot of times those differences in how they pay homage or pay respect or pray, they exploit those differences, rather honoring and respecting the things that are the common denominator that bring people together. And that, I think that's one of the things that that happens to us on a daily basis. But it's all about that point of enlightenment. And our whole point is the simplest point. It's like if you were to approach a grade of grass right now and ask him, hey, what is your purpose? And he'll tell you it's simple, it's for me to grow.
Mhm.
Or if you approach a tree and you walk up to a tree and say, hey, what's your purpose? Say, hey, I'm here to grow. So
Mhm.
that's what we're here for. We're here to grow. And in the midst of that, then we want to be able to share gems along the way that is going to help as a collective consciousness for us to grow and to be able to do more things, and also to receive those outcomes.
Yeah. And not only just to bring these gems, because also there's a flip side of this too. And I'm gonna give an example. If you're emulating somebody that you want to be like, see, there's a whole lot of people that get to success by walking over people. They get
Mhm.
there. Their outcome is going to be their outcome. And that's a universal truth as well. And we're seeing this in somebody who used to run a country, the art of the deal, right? I mean, and there are these people in this world that get to where they want to be by stepping on people. I
Yeah.
think it's a very small percentage. Matter of fact, I know it's a very small percentage. But those very small percentage of people, they have a tendency to gain a gathering of people that they break their heart because they use them, and then they put out negativity into the world based on their experience with those people. And those are the things that you have to guard against. Because
Yeah.
there are a whole lot, there's a percentage of people out there that get to where you like it to be, with the money, with the women, with the guys, with the toys, and they got it by stepping on people.
Yeah. And
And
and that's that's a situation to where that right there is has become what they consider to be the effective norm of
Mhm.
how success is obtained. And that's what is being exploited, throughout the course. Like, you're teaching this kind of thing because they feel like the outcome that they want is success and power. And they're willing to do it by any means, but not means that is going to give them any type of joy. Because a lot of times on the outside, you kind of looking at their highlight reels. When you see them in a day-to-day, or whether you see them in the news, or how they are being exploited or being, portrayed in the media.
Right.
They're
Right.
showing you their highlight reels. They're showing you the cars at home and so on and so forth, but it doesn't show you what they're thinking about at night when all the noise goes away. And you see what I'm saying? So you can have all these accolades, you can have all these different tangible things, and still be hollow on the inside. And you're
Absolutely.
still trying to fill it with everything, but it's a complete vacuum, because you can have all these things around you, but then you have no sense of substance within, and you're just empty.
Absolutely.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. They just see the outside, they just see the car, the home, and so on and so forth, but don't realize that this person is empty. And that's the reason why they lash out and cause a lot of other mischief, because they're not able to fill that void. So
Mhm.
when you give along the way, make no mistake about it, we're all connected. And you may be that person
Good,
that
the bad, and the ugly.
absolutely, and you could be that person along the way that, you know what, you could just have gotten a breakthrough on how to get a grant for you to go to school. And then you hear somebody's having that same problem. They could be on a college campus and they need to get that other grant so they can begin med school, so on and so forth. That one person takes the time on their successful journey to share that information for that grant. That person could later on down the road could come down with an illness. And because they shared that information for that person to go to med school, they were able to get into a certain lab that came up with a vaccine for a disease that a person got that gave them the antidote. And because they enabled that person was able to come up with that vaccine for them to live.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You don't, or it could be a prominent surgeon or a mathematician. The list goes on. So all that we are in this, don't make any mistake about it. In this pool of consciousness, we're connected, whether or not we want to accept that reality or not.
Yeah. And I'll jump in here and say thank you for having me on the show. And intestinal fortitude and tenacity is the first words that come to my head when I think about Gerald and Roosevelt and how much they put into making this program available to the people, because people need to hear these words from this different angle. So now I'll jump in on what you talked about, and that falls back like age-old rule, the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity says, as you give, you shall receive. And it's not always an even exchange in time. The time is displaced, but it is a stockpile, if you will, of pros and cons and things that come back on you. And so I'll give you an example of some things that I do as a person. I'm when it comes to people who've been around a long time, it takes a lot on this earth to get to the end of age. There's so many things out there that can just take you out. And when someone has made it to that elder age of 70, 80, 90 years old, they, in my heart, they have a rite of passage. And so yeah. And so when I do it once a month. I go to a restaurant and I'll sit there and I'll eat and I'll look for an older elderly person or couple. And then I take it upon myself to reach out to the waiter. I said, do you want to participate in something that I do? It's a tradition that I have. And that is, I want to pay for their meal, right? But here's the only rule about that. They can't know that I paid for it.
Oh, man.
And I'm going to tell you, when you see those people who have been on this earth and have the battle scars to prove it, and they look up and they see that check and they look around and it's free. To process that data, they just have that, they're trying to figure out who did it. And you just sit there and you just embrace that concept. But what does it do for them? It makes them want to go out and do the same thing. Right. That law. And you lose all of it if you say, I did it. But when you take yourself out of it and it's all pure and they have nothing but to give to others, it's just a phenomenal thing. Now, granted, I'm very parsimonious when it comes to spending money, right? Right. In that case, I'll spend what it takes. I will spend what it takes. I also throw a salt shaker if they tell them who did it. Outside of that, but yeah, I think that's something that we all should do and give. And I'll speak later on it. But what happens when you're on the other end of that? And you receive something like that, and it's like, where'd it come from? How did that happen? And you just, you're in that moment in time where you need that other side. And I think there's just that balance that happens from something you've done in your past.
Yeah.
It's ironic you say that, because like today's my birthday. I don't share my birthday. I ain't on Facebook. I don't have my birthday on Facebook or anything.
Today's your birthday?
Happy birthday, Roosevelt. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Man, you real discreet with that, man. Happy birthday.
I'm very discreet. It's not on my Facebook page. Nothing where people say happy birthday, happy birthday.
Yeah. And I thought I had all those little you know, the little things and reminders on there, man. I'm usually pretty good with that. But man, happy birthday to what? Ain't that a
Put that on
ain't
the
that a big
calendar.
surprise?
That's something that I don't announce, Mark. And see, you touch my spirit by saying what you said, because that's the type of stuff I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
I don't want them to know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can relate to that, man. And I never expect anything from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be doggone. My mother, who probably has the least resources of all of her children, I just wake up. I don't do the notification things on any of my apps. But remember, I talked about my wallet, right? Haven't got all my stuff back yet. I didn't tell her.
Mm-hmm.
$75 sitting there. Because
Wow.
now, because my well, Mark, you like last week I lost more. Can't figure out where it's at. You know, so I cancel all my cards. When I was going to have the Cash App Visa card, so after I canceled my cards, I was going to transfer money from my account to my card, right? But you can't do it if you didn't cancel the card. You can't transfer it to your Cash App debit card. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Man,
So,
you're losing that wallet, man. Lord have mercy, man. That man.
well,
You,
the irony even about that, I always keep two licenses. Like I'll get my license, go down there and tell them I lost my license, but I'll have two.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
a couple months prior to my brother's death, we're down in Dallas, my family and I lost just the license, which I believe, because I was in his house doing some work where I pulled out my license out of my wallet. I believe it's somewhere in his house. I couldn't find it. But I said, oh, no big deal. I got another wallet. I got another license.
Mm-hmm.
Then I lose my license it was Thursday. So I canceled all my cards. So now I'm just waiting for them to send me all the cards, and I have to go through the process, get another license, everything. I didn't even tell my mother. I didn't even tell her. My mother has least resources than any of her children. And I just happened to check my Cash App, $75. I'm like,
Awesome.
wow. You know, which reflected back on to me was I take care of her. I looked out for her. And it was something I told her, like, my brother did it differently than I did. And I said, you know what, Mom? I'm going to start taking on his part too.
Oh, wow.
yeah. See, that's the thing. It's that story. I think it's a powerful story because it happens to us a lot of times in our life. That when you do those kinds of things, you're not, you know, especially when you're doing it in such a fashion like Mark and how you all do it. And I do something similar to that, but I'm going to try that approach. I do it random, like if I'm in line in the grocery store and
Mhm.
somebody's in front of
Well,
me.
same thing, same
Yeah, and
deal.
I say, yeah, just keep it going. You don't have to stop. And the cashier be like, what? I'm like, yeah, just keep it going. It's good. And if I see like if it's a mom, a single mom or something like that, or somebody, we all have that eye that we look for, you know, something like that. And then I say, well,
Especially when they taking up all your time looking for the money.
oh yeah, if you want to keep them, oh yeah, if you want to pull out
That's
the
another right
coupons
there.
and all, yeah. So
Be kind and on time.
it could be a sprinkle of selfishness in there, you know, but you have to be careful. But it's amazing to see that reaction when they look back at you and say that. And I'm gonna tell you this too: when you do it and you cash your stuff out and you just go on about your business, not pursuing them, asking them to say thank you and all that kind of stuff. You go on by your business, you keep it moving. Because just like you just said, a lot of times you wonder and you say, well, I wonder, you know, it didn't seem like there was a way. It didn't, you know, when I went to sleep last night, I didn't see a way for me to be able to get from here to there. I didn't see no bridge. And then you get up in the morning and you like, there's a bridge where there wasn't one. And that bridge could be an idea or a concept that gives you the information that allows you to be able to go to the next level, or for you to be able to get the outcome that you needed when you did not see a way, and there was no way before. It's kind of like, many of us have seen the movie The Matrix. When they talk about, hey, wait a minute, that could be a glitch in the Matrix because that wasn't over there before, or they changing something, And I think that Matrix is our mind, and it lets us know just how powerful it is, because you put that out there, that particular great seed of power that you put out there, and that feeling that they release into the universe is free flowing.
Yeah.
And just when you happen to need it, it just reoccurred. And by that time, by it circulating in that universal consciousness, it had manifested itself into something more powerful than the time that you released it.
Yeah.
So that's what that is.
Mark said something very important that caught me when he first came on. Is about what it takes to get here. Because we've all seen a whole bunch of folks not make it to where we're at, And I believe, there's something about age. Even though I wish I was smarter than I am back then, than I am today, wish I had more wisdom back then than I have today, but the universe knows.
Mm-hmm.
The universe knows. I had to go through certain things that a lot of my friends that were like me, that I ran with, they ain't here today. They're not here today. So there's something about, and I'm not saying this to where our audience that are younger should wait to get older, because you might not make it. You can set that example for the rest of your life right now. You can put up those barriers, those guards right now. And that right now is taking care of your community, taking care of your family, giving back to others. Any little blessing you get. What's that? What's the term the new age said? Pass it forward. Be of service to somebody. You can find, huh? Yeah, you can find anybody in your community today. I'm gonna help one person.
Mm-hmm.
This week, I'm gonna help one person. This month, I'm gonna help one person. See, because the universe reads your heart.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you something that's powerful too. Being in the correctness in your state of mind when you do the giving. That's important, because you have to be
a part of your business plan.
You have to have the right state of mind.
Yeah.
That you're in a state of mind that you have opened your mind to the possibilities of your talent.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? You have to open yourself and tell yourself, like Les Brown would say, this is possible for me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in that state of mind, you will find that what you're seeking is also seeking you as well. So if you're in that state of mind, a success mindset, then you're going to draw unto you what you are. It doesn't work the other way around. If you're in a decimal state of mind and you're not what they call it, and biblically what they call a cheerful giver. It's a reason why I say it doesn't say just give.
Right.
It says be a cheerful giver.
Mm-hmm.
Give with enthusiasm, and with that enthusiasm, it provokes a momentum for it to basically spring forth and to be able to do what it does to affect others and yourself.
And even if you're destitute, even though I made a joke, don't make it a part of your business plan, which was given should not be. But even if you're destitute, that's the best place to be.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
If I got one thing to give in my destitute situation, I'm gonna give it. I don't care if it's knowledge. I don't care if it's information. I don't care if it's a hug. You give it.
Yeah. I think, man, it's when I think about this, man, I think about Bob Marley. And he said many powerful things, but one thing he said, we're all united through breath.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when an interviewer asked him, was he rich? And he was like, what do you mean, like monetarily? He's like, man, I'm beyond rich far as my substance, what I have in here. The interviewer, I don't think he could understand what he was saying, but
usually the case.
yeah, man. And even when in one of his songs he was talking about, and he said, just sharing his porch with another person in the most humblest manner, like, and you think about a porridge or oatmeal or wherever you live, it might be grits in one other place, but think about it. You got a bowl, a porridge or oatmeal or grits and so on and so forth. And then another person has a bowl and you take some scoops out of your bowl and put it in another person's bowl.
That's right.
That is a very, very humble way of giving, right there on the ground level, man. And that fundamental thing that you act on, that basic instinct that we have that is natural to give. If you see a need, then you respond, but it's still all about that choice as to whether or not we will respond or not.
Your riches is in more than your money.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It is. It's yeah.
I think that I think we sometimes find it easy. I won't say as men, but just people with just flat out good character find it easy to go out and help people. I mean, you see something, somebody inside got a flat tire, no problem. Riding with the girlfriend, riding on some scooters, and out of nowhere, this big hurricane storm, out of nowhere, just dumped on Dallas, and literally riding the scooter, and then it was a hailstorm and everything. And so, what do? We're men. I got it. You go right on over there under that shelter, and I'll go to safety and bring it back to you. And then you find yourself out there where you may need some help because, like I said, when that hailstorm hit and it was raining, nobody could drive. All the power went out, and this guy, this Caucasian gentleman pulls up in a redneck truck, and he's like, "Hey, you need some help?" Your philosophy changes very quickly when the
right.
Absolutely. So the scooter in the back of your truck, I'm riding with you, brother. Because the scenario situation has changed, and so
yeah,
it's a little harder when you're on the other side because we are built and designed to help others. But when you need help, that's where it changes. So if I may, if you give me a little latitude here, a few years back, I went to California, and I had worked all day, and I was doing a turn and burn. So I was gonna get out there. So I went all the way to the end of the day, got out there and did a lot of work. And I was also doing a fast. So I was everybody's trying to get right in life and do things like that. And so I did everything I was supposed to do. And I got back to the airport. I had never been to LAX. And then I started walking to the terminal. And then something came over me. I was like, uh-oh, I know that feeling. And if you've ever got knocked out or passed out, you know that feeling is feeling like no other.
Yeah.
So I'm walking down there. Now I went to a big event, so I was dressed what I thought was looking good, right?
Right.
And I'm walking down this, I don't know, 50,000 people. There's a lot of people going up to the walkway there in the airport. But I got that feeling. I'm like, okay, something's really wrong. And now I'm starting to look at the earth. The earth is starting to move this way, but I'm still walking straight. I was like, okay, I'm about to go out. And if you dress in a suit and looking professional, and you stop in the middle of an airport with all these people walking around, and you take a knee, it's that time. And so your first thing is, hey, I can tough it out. If I could just get to the area where I need to get on, sit down. But that was not happening. And I knew I was about to go out. And so I looked up, and people literally are what? They are so busy. They got their plane, they got something to do, they're on their phones. You really don't matter. And so I took a knee in the middle of that airport, and I was going down, and this lady walked by, and I said, can you, and she just right on past me. But this other lady, she was wearing a striped skirt, long skirt, but a striped skirt. I remember it was a black and white skirt. And when you're about to go out, you remember certain things about things that happen. But I said to her, I said, ma'am, I don't know you. but I'm about to go out. Can you get me some help? And she didn't know what to do. She walked off. And I was like, wow. So I just literally sat in the middle of the airport. And I just tried to scoot over to a wall so I could lay up against the wall. And I'm telling you, I started leaning over.
You ain't see your light flashing before you, did you?
And I saw all that. I'm like, because something's not right. I mean, I think I'm in good shape. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. But I know that moment because I did it, in a semi-combat situation. And that same thing happened. So I know the difference between you just feel a little dizzy. This was not going to end well. But I tell you, when I looked up, here comes that same lady. She's dragging this police officer. Said, I need you to help this guy because he's, like this. But that woman, knowing nothing, knew not how to save anybody, do anything. All she knew was she needed help in some kind of way. And so they got there and they, and I know the drill about, when they're going to stick you with that IV, I know the drill. I know how they're going to do you. I'm like, I said, okay, look, hey, you know what? I really appreciate that. I know you got to get to your plane. So, I just want to thank you. And she says, no, I'm going to stay right here to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
And you see that right there. Yeah. That's what happens when you pay for somebody's meal at a restaurant. They don't know what happens. That's how it comes back full circle.
Yeah.
You need help and you're the kind of person who don't want to ask for help and somebody gives you that help anyway. That's the law of reciprocity.
And and it's a different connection, irregardless of who you believe you should be around. Mm-hmm. It's a different type of thing, man, because there's some folks I ain't going to be around. Mm-hmm. But I make peace with all men. I make peace with all men. I believe in that. But there's certain people I don't want to be around. Mm-hmm. But see, I experienced that same thing. Mine was through diabetes. Mm-hmm. I ain't got diabetes. I'm too healthy for that. I ain't got diabetes.
You don't want to mess with that, bro.
And it took me a couple years, Mark, before I started listening to my endocrinologist. Mm-hmm. I've been in airports going through the same thing. And I know, okay, I'm running late for this flight, but I might not make it. Because I feel that. And it was somebody of a different persuasion
exactly.
that I would have never reached out to for help. That helped me. So of course, the older I get, the more I grow, the more I learn. It's okay for me to feel the way I want to feel. It's okay for me to be around people I choose to be around. But I make peace with all men.
Hey, you got to understand, that right there, when you have a situation like that, that makes things abundantly clear. Because,
which of course, God had helped me out with that because
I
got a little rebel with me.
No, it's no problem. But it's the yeah, no, go ahead. But that's the thing that we have to understand is that those particular situations, they bring something to us that makes it abundantly clear.
Yeah.
That help may not come in the way you think it's gonna come.
Yeah. Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you have to be in your mind that if you're sitting and you're praying and asking for help, that you're able to recognize help when it gets there. Right. And that's important too.
Absolutely.
So that lady, she was definitely not the person you would think would help.
That help will come in.
Step on your chest with her heels on. That's how she looked. But hey, something was.
All right, so let's wind this down, gentlemen. Wish we had more time. Mark, man,
it's been good.
They're looking forward to you being on our broadcast in the feature. We're going to feature you as a guest host at least once a month, man.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Hey, I don't think he'll mind coming on and hanging out with us. It looked like he fits right in with us. So, but thank you all tonight. I think this has been a really good episode. I hope each time we come on here, we are building bricks in a great foundation that's going to give us a better experience in our life. And our hope is it gets you the outcomes that you're seeking. So this information that we have shared tonight has been exciting because I learned some things on here, and it's my hope that you have learned some things as well. Mhm.
And like we always like to say, we're always at a crossroad every day. A decision's got to be made. So
Absolutely.
I'd like for you to join us on this journey to creating a better community for all of us.
Absolutely.
Definitely thank you for being a part of this. Bart, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. You brought a different flavor.
It was really good. It's
Yeah.
hard to get back.
Oh yeah, but you
There's
brought
so
some
much data coming across there. You just taking it all in.
That's what's up,
you
man.
dropped some. I think you dropped some really good gems
Absolutely.
for me that I was able to learn some things and a reminder on some things. So it's been great content tonight, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. And our audience, please join us on YouTube and hit that like button for us, and also subscribe so you can continue to get more of our content. So it's all about that choice to whether or not we want to remain the same, regress, or grow. RNG at the Crossroad, we're all about growth. So have a good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Much love.
All right, thank you, and y'all have a good night.
Before talking to you again, Mark.
Likewise. Thanks for about.
Great evening.